Um, this veal brain weighs 0.8 pound and costs $5.99 per pound. So this is a just under a $5 veal brain. The way that this will be prepared is that the brain will be taken out of the vacuum sealed pack and it will be parboiled for about 6 minutes. The reason for that is to toughen up the veal brain so it's not so loose and mushy, therefore making it easier to cut and control while cooking. After the veal brain will be parboiled for about 6 minutes, or blanched if you will, whichever you'd like to call it, it'll be cut into pieces. It'll be breaded in a mixture of flour, paprika, and cayenne pepper. And then it will be fried in a frying pan, 3 minutes to a side approximately. So this should cook a lot quicker. Nevertheless, care needs to be taken. This will, again, as I said, the veal brain will be taken out of the vacuum sealed package. It'll be boiled for about 6 minutes in order to toughen up the tissue, making it easier to cut and control. But of course, before that happens, there's a membrane on the outside of the brain. Membrane and other little, like, it's tough to describe, little filaments. In addition to the membrane, they have to be cleaned out. That has to be removed. And once that happens, then you can flour the pieces, put them in the frying pan with hot oil, and fry them up 3 minutes to a side. So let's start. Here you have the veal brain out of this package. I haven't rinsed it yet. I did want to mention, just briefly, there might be some concern among some people regarding eating brains, especially given the mad cow disease scare in Britain a few years back. That's obviously a concern anytime you eat brain, but I think that in America, the kind of problems that you had in Britain won't exist. Regardless, I think that issue has to be addressed to people who say that under no circumstances will they ever eat brain. Again, this is an organ meat that most Americans won't think about eating. As you can see, it's very soft. It's very soft. I mean, I find it very difficult. This has to be boiled to harden the meat, to harden the tissue a little bit, so that it's easier to cut and control. This is so soft. I know that there are some recipes where the veal brains are taken and then sautéed with scrambled eggs. That's definitely another way of cooking them, but that won't be the method here. And there's a lot here. This 0.8 pound, it's almost a pound of veal brain. This is going to yield a lot of food after it's deep fried or fried and breaded and fried. So I'm going to, and there you can see a little bit of the membrane that covers the veal brain that will have to be removed after this is boiled for about 6 minutes. That has to be removed. So anyway, I wanted you to see the veal brain out of the package and just get an idea of how soft this is. You know, again, any health concerns, I think they're unwarranted here in America. But I did want to address that. So I'm going to rinse this out and then boil it for about 6 minutes or thereabouts. And see, the water's boiling. We are going to put the veal brain into the pot. Slowly, slowly, carefully. There you go. There you go. Let it come up back to a boil, which it'll do very quickly. And just let it boil for about 6 minutes to blanch. It's only been about a couple minutes, but I think, as you can already see, the veal brain has already changed from a pinkish color to a white color, and that of course is because it's being cooked. And that's the idea. I'm cooking the veal brain by boiling it for about 6 minutes. it'll cook it partially, but that isn't the goal. The goal is to make the veal brain more manageable as you're cutting it. In its natural state, fresh from the veal, it's just so soft and mushy that you really can't control it. And the whole idea is to end up cutting the veal brain into bite-sized pieces, dipping it in scrambled egg and flour, and then frying it up in hot oil. As you can see, this scum on the side, that's not blood, that's just protein from the veal brain. You take a ladle or a spoon and you simply scoop that out of the way. It doesn't mean a thing. Give this about 3 more minutes and we're done. Okay, the veal brain has been boiling. I lowered the heat from a high to a medium. Again, anytime you're cooking, the cardinal sin with cooking is overheating whatever it is you're cooking. This is more so of meat than anything else, but for example, right now I believe I will take this out of the pot very carefully. As you can see, there's been a very drastic color change. This was pink and white. Now this is white with gray. And that's simply because this has been cooking for about 6 minutes. I'm taking it out. I'm going to put it on a plate, let it sit and cool for a bit. Again, the whole idea was to get this meat a little bit tougher, not as soft and mushy, so that we can cut through it with a serrated knife. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to put some scrambled eggs on it, or dip them in scrambled eggs after I cut the veal brain up in pieces. And then I'm going to fry the breaded pieces in olive oil for about 3 minutes to a side, I think. We'll see. I'll take a piece out and cut into it and see that it's properly cooked. The batter is simply white flour that's had cayenne pepper and paprika put into it. You'll see. I'll show this to you. But basically, that's all that's going to happen. The veal brain is out of the pot. The veal brain is now sitting. I'm going to let it rest and cool a little bit before I start cutting into it. I will cut them in pieces, bite-sized pieces. Put those pieces in some scrambled egg, roll it in flour, and then fry them up about 3 minutes to a side. So stay tuned. Okay, I've let the veal brain cool down for about 10 minutes or so, and then used a long serrated knife to cut the brain into more manageable bite-sized pieces prior to dipping them in the batter, the egg batter, and then breading them. This veal brain apparently had its membrane removed prior to packaging, which I greatly appreciate. That's a bit more of the work that's already been done for you. In addition, when you do have to take the membrane out, you know, there's always the issue of damaging the pieces. As you can see, this is still very soft and loose. I mean, it's been cooked. I would hazard, I guess you could probably eat this now, except it wouldn't be as flavorful as breading it and actually frying it up. Actually, these should be deep fried after battered and breaded, but I don't have a deep fryer. I'm just going to use a frying pan. As you can hear, the olive oil is heating up in the frying pan. There's not that much olive oil, just enough to coat the bottom of the pan. I'm not going to go crazy here, and I've also put some salt on the bottom for flavor. So that's what's going to happen. Piece will be battered and then breaded and then put in a hot frying pan with olive oil or oil of your choice and let cook for about maybe 6 minutes to the side. I'll take out a piece, give it a little test taste, and make sure that it's been cooked properly. But that's pretty much it. And again, the whole idea with cooking, and this is a problem that moms all across America do with broccoli. This is why kids don't like broccoli or Brussels sprouts. You cook the item too long. I let this veal brain boil and blanch for about 6 minutes, and then I let it rest. I let it rest for 2 reasons. One, it's still particularly loose even after pulling it out of the pot. even after boiling it for 6 minutes. But also the idea is that anytime you're cooking something, especially meat, there's residual heat in the item, and so in a sense, this veal brain was still cooking after I took it out of the pot. You have to be careful. The cardinal sin of all cooking is overheating whatever it is you're cooking. You'll learn based on the limitations of your stove, etc., how long to cook something, but people tend to overcook their meat, and that is a cardinal sin. So again, a piece of veal brain will be dipped in egg batter, will be breaded in flour. This is flour, cayenne pepper, and paprika, and then cooked in olive oil 3 minutes to a side. So stay tuned. Here are some of the veal brain pieces being fried up. I had some difficulty in actually breading this. The thing with breading is, and this is something that I've seen in other recipes and cooking, is that you have wet ingredients and you have dry ingredients. I got very frustrated in trying to. I took some of the batter, put it in a small plate, and then dipped the battered pieces of veal brain in that, and it got very mushy. So I cheated. This is a bachelor's trick, I'd say. Is I put the remaining veal pieces in the batter, and then I put breading or flour on top of that, and sort of mushed it together. And then what I'll do is as soon as these pieces are done, then I'm going to go ahead and cook the remainder for the pieces. It's a bit messy, the batter and the breading, but I think I've got some kind of a solution that'll at least help me keep things under control and not too messy. As I was trying to take individual pieces of veal brain, dipping them in batter, and then breading them in a separate plate, not where I have my main flour, but in a separate plate, it got gunky. So hopefully this will be a good cheat method of breading them. As you can see, the veal brain pieces are frying up. Give it about 3 minutes to the side. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing is. And your mileage may vary and this and that. As you can see, okay, I hope you can see, yeah, they've been fried up. So give us a few more minutes, and then when we come back, I'll have a plate full of fried veal brains. This is the second set of veal brain that I put in the frying pan. This is from the bowl where I basically had enough of trying to batter these pieces and simply threw everything into the bowl and mixed it around. When I poured the veal brain pieces into the frying pan, I made sure that I used a fork to separate everything out. This was not going to be any kind of a scrambled egg kind of a dish. These are battered and breaded veal brain pieces. They've been frying for about 3 minutes on one side, so what I'm going to do is use a fork to turn them around. Initially, I used a very high heat to get the oil going, but then I lowered it to a medium heat. Again, the cardinal sin of cooking, no matter what you do, the cardinal sin is overcooking your food, especially your meat. When you take meat off of a frying pan or out of the pot or out of the oven, it is still cooking. And a lot of recipes simply do not acknowledge the fact that you're still cooking the meat. I mean, you're taking the heat source away, but it's still cooking. So these pieces have been cooking 3 minutes on one side. I'll let them cook another 3 minutes on this side, and then turn them over one more time for maybe another 2 or 3 minutes, and we're done. After that, as these pieces here are doing, I'm going to let them rest. I've already tried a bit. It has a very light flavor to it. You can taste. It tastes like liver. I mean, if you had to pin it down, and I've had veal brain before, it has a liver kind of a taste to it. It's very soft, like sweetbreads. It practically melts in your mouth. But it's done. I mean, very minimal amount of cooking time and preparation. What I'll probably do is, if I don't have this for lunch, which I probably will, I could take this to work with me for lunch. So, basically, we're done.